this is my third opportunity to be able to be in the presence of the embassy and your hospitality. And thank you so much. And for everybody, thank you for coming. And Senator Nunn, it's an honor. And Secretary Cohen, I'm so happy that you're here. And Senator Hagel, a year ago today, had this opportunity, and you become a member of Ploughshares Board and all the great work that you do. So thank you very, very much. And Dean Gallucci for just a few. Bob? Dean Bob? Dean Bob. Okay. Dean Bob. Dean Bob for a short period of time, That's right. Understand. Congratulations on the MacArthur Foundation.
Thank you very much.
And we'll miss you. I guess my first question was for both of you, which is, this appears to be a very exciting time in the long history of nuclear disarmament. I know there's many people here who've spent their entire career with Senator Nunn and Secretaries Kissinger, Perry, and Schultz's first editorial coming out, and followed by President Obama's talk in Prague, and then your visit again in the White House, and what's going on in Russia right now with conversations and talks beginning on the START treaty. So my question is this truly a transformational moment in time? Are we correct to see this as a moment when it is possible to make fundamental changes in the U.S. and global nuclear policy? And Senator Hagel, I'll ask you.
Well, Michael, thank you. I would normally defer to my supervisor, Dean Gallucci, in something like this. We all work and report to Gallucci. I am particularly proud and pleased to be here again, especially since I'm one of the few non-Italians. Ambassador, thank you as always, and Joe and the rest of the leadership of the organizations that have helped put this together and continue to uplift, inspire, and educate our country and the world. Sam Nunn, I know you're coming up here in a few minutes. Thank you for your continued leadership. And someone who was not mentioned, Graham Allison from Harvard, is buried in the middle of the audience somewhere. That's typical of a Harvard professor. Very nondescript, never looking for any attention. Graham, welcome. And I will mention Graham in a more serious vein in a moment, but to stick with your question, Mike, I do think that this is one of those transformational times in history. And I think the world is reorienting itself, redefining itself in a way that history rarely offers. And it is up to the leadership of the world to seize this moment and this opportunity. I don't know of an issue that is so threatening to mankind than proliferation of nuclear weapons. Obviously, the environmental challenges that face the world, pandemic health threats, energy, all are woven into a global fabric, of course. But this issue, which you identified years ago, Michael, to lend your leadership and name and fame to, which we very much appreciate, was accurately identified. And I think we have this unique moment with this new leadership in place, not just in Washington, but in Moscow, around the world, that can, in fact, address this great issue in a meaningful way, in the sense that we need to move it to a higher platform, to a higher agenda of action. And we know this is not easy. There are so many dynamics that are in play. Sam Nunn talks about this often. We talk about the national security of any nation, and we talk about deterrence, the nuclear umbrella. So many factors play into this, so it is a complex issue. But I am convinced that if we do not address this in a serious way, and all of our leaders in the world start paying attention to this and committing themselves to the eventual elimination of these nuclear weapons, then there's a real question about the future of mankind. And I think it's that serious. And I think, to finish my answer with your question, yes, this is, I think, one of those transformational moments. Thank you.
Thank you. Dean Bob.
Thank you, Michael. Let me add my thanks, Mr. Ambassador, for hosting us tonight, Joe for bringing us together, and Michael, I'm glad you're not on the faculty because I couldn't bear to have another person reporting to me tonight.
Okay.
I want to take a moment. Someone mentioned to me that Herbert York died yesterday. And for this audience, we all know what a giant we lost, first in the weapons program and then in the arms control effort. So just want to note that passing is a big one for all of us. This was something of a take-home quiz. I got the question in advance, so I wrote out my answer. And the problem is, I just went through graduation, and you've been a dean 13 years. It's like Groundhog Day. You go, graduations are all the same, and a lot of what one says to a graduating class, looks like this, only 20 times the size. You say this is a unique moment in history. And, I've said that 13 times. It just gets more and more unique, whatever. So you really want to squeeze that question just a little bit to find out whether, do you really mean it? And, people have ticked off the elements of it that you begin with, don't we, the fact that we have a new administration, a new president, and a new Congress. So lots more is possible for people dedicated to this who are in this position. And then you think of the things that are sort of coming up, the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, the idea of controlling fissile material, FMCT, as those in the biz call it, the idea of a new START treaty, sort of, which could be a pun. And then we have this zero movement, which has gotten such enormous help through the not very distinguished catchphrase of Gang of Four, Sam, but still captures some of that. But we also have some challenges at the same time, which I suppose you can turn into this unique opportunity. But these things are potentially catastrophes that are somewhat pregnant. It's probably not a good metaphor, but I'm thinking here of the North Korean case, which I would say isn't going terribly well. Then I would say Iran, which at any time, I don't know how you all look at Iran, but it can go bad at least two ways: by the Iranians doing something, either increasing the level of enrichment or doing something otherwise unwelcome, or somebody wishing to stop the program, doing something that might be a bit precipitous. So the Iranian situation can be exciting almost at any moment. And then there's Pakistan. And we can dwell on that a little. It's probably worth doing that. I won't do it right now, but that's a situation which, as I think we all know, not only could go bad at any moment, but might have yesterday. And we should have no confidence that we'd know if that had happened yesterday. And overall, overarching in this, this great opportunity that we have, is something which is a black cloud over our heads, and the ambassador referred to it. Candidates always refer to it. The president referred to it as the #1 security challenge: nuclear terrorism. The question I have, and I'm very sensitive to the fact that Graham is in the audience. That would be the shrinking violet Harvard professor. That the nuclear terrorism issue is there, and not evident to me that while we recognize it as the overarching security threat in traditional terms of security, that we have actually seized upon a set of actions that we're going to pursue to reduce the likelihood that this catastrophic event is going to happen. So I see a lot of reasons for thinking that good things can happen, but I see a lot of reasons why bad things can happen very soon as well. So I guess we could call that an opportunity, being optimistic and saying, yes, we can. But it's also possible that we won't.